What is up? I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. This is Blinkers Off. Hey, we're coming at you guys early today. How you going? How's it going, Halterman?
Oh yeah, coming out this weekend in South Carolina, and I said, yeah, I know the family's going to be here in like an hour, and then I'm going to just be fucked for the rest of the day. So let's get this over with now, so to speak. So yeah, here we are.
You just for the people at home listening, you cut out a little bit there, so you probably have shitty internet. I'm gonna guess where you're at, and but no, he's at a wedding in South Carolina, and shit's about to get real. So you guys got there just well in advance, like just to prep yourselves, or what?
We didn't want to travel on Thursdays because Dudes Who Bet Sports, Blinkers Off, usually record videos with Magic, so I said, well, I don't really want to travel Friday with the wedding being Saturday, so we traveled Wednesday to avoid missing shows and stuff. So, yeah, internet, it's been pretty good today. It was good through the Dudes Who Bet Sports show. Hopefully, it's better as we go on here, and we don't have that again.
Are you in the hotel?
Yes.
Right now?
Yeah.
So what I know the Buck family very well, and I can imagine this is going to be quite the shindig. So what's the plan? What's you guys all in like a block of rooms together? This hotel shit about to get nuts. I mean, what's the game plan? And is it Charleston, South Carolina?
Yeah, Charleston, South Carolina, like an old town here in the South. Pretty nice area so far. I haven't been out too much. Been working today, but yeah, I think once we get done here, gonna go out on the town and kind of see what it's all about, and then I'm sure, Saturday wedding day will be pretty crazy once the thing gets over with. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be fun, man. Like I said, I think the plane just landed carrying most of the Buck family. So we'll see what happens now that they're here.
Did you feel the ground shake a little bit? Did it shimmer?
I felt my phone vibrate because Casey Buck is already calling me. So I know that they're on the ground. So we'll see what happens.
I just hope you and Uncle P don't have another accident this time around. I don't know. Maybe I don't think you can afford that on a wedding weekend.
I think Uncle P, it'll be interesting to see if he's in on his best behavior after his performance. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Oh, Aunt Laura might have maybe put a little bit of a little talking into a little fear of God into Uncle P before this trip.
He may have got neutered after that trip. Gelded.
Yeah, he's been gelded. He's stretching back out though, but he'll probably be a different horse today. So this weekend he'll probably run about fifth.
I'll be happy to report if he has been gelded or not. Because we're gonna find out tonight, probably. We'll see how he goes. So
I really hope he hears this podcast. That's somehow I hope he's listening. All right, yeah. Welcome to another episode of Blinkers Off. We'll get into obviously a big weekend following kind of the first big weekend post Breeders' Cup last weekend with, of course, the Clark and Maxfield going out a winner. How about that? That was, let's talk about that race a little bit. It was interesting that kind of how that played out. He ran a fantastic, maybe his best race of his career, saved it all for the end. What did you think of Maxfield?
I thought the key to the race was Maxfield was able to sit closer to the pace than normal, and I thought that was huge. And then I thought Midnight Bourbon kind of just ran like dog shit, and that helped out a little bit too. So, but honestly, though, I thought Maxfield, it was a really, really strong race from him, and it's fun to watch a horse run its last race and go out as a winner, especially a horse like that who's been pretty popular throughout his career. So yeah, I was happy to see him win for sure. That was nice.
Do you think that had he not ran like dog shit, Midnight Bourbon, like, do you think he would have, Maxfield still would have won? Like, do you think he ran good enough to win no matter what? Or do you think it was like kind of a combination of the two?
I mean, the numbers say no. That numbers say that, if Midnight Bourbon would have ran back to his number, he would have won. But, is it to the point now with him where it's just like he just loses? That's just kind of what he does. So maybe until he wins one, don't really have confidence in him. I mean, that's where I was after that. It was like, wow, like you had things set up for you. You should have been able to win. And if you believe the numbers, they ran slow enough for you to win and you still didn't do it, So I don't know what to do with him at this point.
Yeah, I mean that might be the case, but he also just, I mean, he ran extra shitty.
Yeah.
You know, he kind of threw in the towel much earlier than, you know, you kind of knew. Yeah, you knew too at the top of the turn. You knew, well, he's done, and you kind of thought, Maxfield's going to win this thing, and
Uh, didn't
both
you
happened.
didn't you kind of, when he broke and it was just like, you could tell his like funky break and he like went inwards and he stumbled. It's like, oh God, he's
Yeah,
not gonna run today.
I know it's interesting, right? With the you know, the whole Asmussen angle and what's going on with some of his horses right now, and you know, can he come back and get some of these horses back? And we'll find out. I mean, obviously, Midnight Bourbon is a horse that we'll see plenty of. We've talked a lot about that horse. Obviously, what he'll do. He's only a 3-year-old, of course. So what we'll see from him as a 4-year-old, he's obviously had. I mean, he's definitely had a massive campaign this year. I mean, he's ran all over the place, and he's ran in all the big ones, and other than, of course, the Classic. So he's probably due for a break. And yeah, but no, the weekend was amazing. Thanksgiving weekend was great. Chad Brown finally was able to win a race at Del Mar. How about that? That was kind of weird. Like, his horses ran like, talk about really like dog shit. He couldn't win a damn turf race at Del Mar.
No, he was awful. He was awful. He did finally win. Regal Glory won. You know, some logical winners at Del Mar, but you had to go a little deep to get there. You know, maybe third or fourth choice for some of us to get there. Yeah, I mean, it was a really, like I said, it was a really entertaining week. Pink Lloyd goes out a winner as well. I thought that was awesome to see up at Woodbine. So yeah, it was overall a lot of fun this weekend for sure. I mean, I always really enjoy Thanksgiving weekend for the racing now. And I don't think it disappointed. It was strong. It was what we expected.
Yeah, I'm sure you and Magic were, you know, holding hands watching that race together with Pink Lloyd, because I know how big a fan, especially Magic, is.
Yeah.
And what's amazing about that horse is that the horses, I don't know. I know I saw the video with Magic, what he did, but I think it was like 2 million or something along those lines of what the horse earned in his career, and never left Ontario ever. You know, just kind of a crazy horse that they never really took a shot, so to speak, with the horse. They just kind of kept running the horse in the same kind of races and just kept racking up the bank. I mean, literally an ATM.
Yeah, he would run in the same stakes every year up there. You know, not only the same track, but the same stakes. It was crazy. It was crazy, the kind of campaign. But yeah, he was just. I mean, there were a few years there, and I say a few because he ran so many. There were a few years like I think they could have taken him somewhere and he would have won. You know, this year not as much. He was kind of hit and miss this year, but it was just fantastic to see him go out with a win. That was fun to see.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I don't get that mindset. I mean, I've never owned a horse like Pink Lloyd, so I guess I don't know. But I mean, it just seems like if you have a horse running that good, all the, you know, very consistently, like I would at least want to. I'd be interested to be like, what's it hurt to go take the horse to Churchill or Keeneland or something just to give it a shot?
You have like an Iowa bred, an Arkansas bred, and you are pretty damn sure they can't win outside of it. I get it, but yeah, Pink Lloyd, why not try it? Chubwagon, right? Like they ran her in some weird spots this year. Why not try it? I'm the same way as you. Yeah, especially if one was running numbers and blowing out fields.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if Pink Lloyd's is like running, you know, sub-level numbers, but still kind of managing to squeak out wins, you're like, well, clearly the horse is good, but not great. Winning against shittier horses here, we know what we have. But when you're just beating the shit out of fields and just doing it with ease, you're kind of. It feels like with Pink Lloyd for a lot of times. I mean, yeah, the horse I think had to kind of empty the tank, so to speak, towards the end of the career. But you know, some of those races, like the horse never left first gear, and you're like, well, you know how good he was. So at those times. So yeah, that I think I would have tried, but again, you know, the horse made however much money. Hard to say they did much wrong with the horse, right? So
yeah, hard to argue with 2 million plus for sure.
What was the let me pull up that real fast because I feel like the numbers are staggering. The horse, yeah, 1.8 is what the total was. So almost 2 million. 29 for 38 starts, 29 wins.
Wow.
So
wow.
What's amazing is 29 and 3 seconds and 2/3. So I mean the horse basically won every time he entered the track, and if he didn't, he was off so and that was really a lot of those races where there's that kind of a section there in 2018 where he kind of struggled a little bit. But then past that, this year, obviously he had started off the year with a couple seconds, but yeah, rattled off 3 wins to end the career. And the horse never won a Grade 1 either. Never even had a shot.
Yeah.
So
yeah. Well, he ran on those synthetic tracks all the time, and I don't think they have a Grade 1 up there on the synthetic at Woodbine. So
never ran a race outside of Woodbine. It's insane, just insane.
Incredible.
So.
Yep.
But yeah, Pink Lloyd. That's a pretty crazy story. All right, let's get into it. We got some big racing to talk about, and guess what? Oaklawn. We got Oaklawn to talk about. Yeah, it's not January. We're gonna talk about 2-year-old racing at Oaklawn. Did you ever think you would live to see that? That's it doesn't make any sense, but I love it. Right?
I think the assumption was they'll eventually extend the schedule and it'll be later in the year, not earlier, as in still in 2021. We're starting, Oaklawn 2021 ended. Nope, it's starting again. So, no, I've never thought I would ever see it, and I'm very, very excited about it.
Well, the more I thought about it, I was like, it because the weather only gets really shitty down. I mean, the same way with here, but it more like in the January, February time.
Yep.
Really in December, we don't have a ton of brutally cold or snow weather here in the Midwest, Arkansas, So, and if you extend it, you're going into other big meets, but right now you're really not Aqueduct is who you're competing with, that's really it. And so it makes a lot of sense to kind of have that basically whole month here early. Versus, because I don't think my first reaction was, well, they're going to lose. Like, why are you going to run in December? You're going to lose days, But I don't necessarily think that's going to happen all that often in December. You're more likely going to see it like we normally do, January, and of course into somewhat into February. But I don't think December is going to be much of an issue.
No, I don't either. A lot of people have been saying, "Oh, it's going to be bad down there," and you're right. They lose days in February, not January. So December should be even better. I think the weather forecast is pretty good for opening weekend. Might have some rain Saturday. I'll have to worry about, but temperature-wise, should be fine. And like I said, I'm with you. I thought, that's going to work out. We don't lose days in January very often, and like I said, December should be even better. So. That's exciting, man. It's really exciting that it's back. I can't wait. It's going to be odd watching it tomorrow, but I can't wait.
Well, here's the thing, okay? And this is obviously above normal, very above normal. But today you're not here, so it's 74 here in Springfield today.
Wow.
It's 77 today in Hot Springs.
Wow.
So, I get that's perfect timing for that. But, tomorrow it's 73 and sunny, 67 Saturday, 68 Sunday. I mean, the weather is phenomenal. It feels like spring.
I was going to say, it feels like April at Oaklawn.
Apparently the weather, just thought, well, hey, Oaklawn's starting back. Apparently it needs to be warm. So that's what they're doing. So no, the weather will be fantastic. So yeah, Oaklawn's back. So let's get to it. Today's show. Let's preview the final greatest stakes of the year in New York, the 750K Cigar Mile Handicap at Aqueduct. Then we give some rapid fire selections for the remaining stakes action at Aqueduct, Los Al, and Oaklawn. That's right, Oaklawn. Let's go. Yeah, that weather is insane.
I knew it was
beautiful.
I knew it was like 60s, but I didn't know they're getting up into the 70s. That's unbelievable.
77. I mean, it's like that's better than the weather is most of the time when we're down there. You know what I mean?
Oh, for sure. For sure. It's usually way colder than that.
Oh, yeah. It's insane that they finally have a meet in December at 75 degrees.
Sometimes you just get rewarded for doing something right.
Hey, there you go. And you take note the rest of these.
I love that. That's funny.
All right, let's do the cigar. It's actually, the more I looked at this race, it maybe doesn't have like a crazy amount of like stars in it. Well, it doesn't have really stars in it, but it's got a lot of good horses, a lot of interesting horses. Obviously following C. Pletcher's got a few. American Revolution might be the goods? We are going to find out. Of course, Code of Honor, Independence Hall, making their last starts perhaps. So Ginobili coming in from the West Coast. So there's like a lot of little. I mean, being a grade one. I mean, it has kind of the makings of a decent race, I think.
Totally, I totally agree. I think it's going to be highly entertaining race.
Should be, yeah.
Yeah.
All right. 3, 2, 1. All right, let's head to the Duct on Saturday. That's right. Aqueduct has the Cigar Mile Handicap Race 10. It's a grade 1 worth $750K for 3-year-olds and up on 1 mile. And again, this is the last graded stakes race of the year in New York. Kind of hard to believe. It's early December. It's the last graded stakes race in New York. So going to end it with a bang here. We've got 8 horses. And, I talked a little bit about this off air on the live stream. It's not, maybe you don't have like that huge star horse that's kind of entered the race that, Life is Good or whatever, name a horse. But you do have a lot of good horses in the race. Following C, I'll just go through the list here. It's 8 horses, 8-horse field. Following C is 5-1, Plainsman 12-1, American Revolution, the other Pletcher at 5-2. That's kind of the horse. Code of Honor 6-1, Independence Hall 7-2, Ginobili 7-2, Olympiad 10-1, and Pipeline 15-1. So as you look at this race, Halterman, you got the 2 Pletchers. I think that's where you got to start. Following C had a second there where you're like, okay, this horse is the goods, and then of course ran in the Breeders' Cup Sprint, didn't embarrass himself whatsoever. Honestly, ran a great race, especially when you consider how Jackie's Warrior ran. Aloha West, of course, won that race. Dr. Scheibel, and then following C was third. Of course, dominated in the Vosburg before that. But then his stablemate, American Revolution, comes into this race off an 11-length win at Belmont Park last out. This horse is a state bred. This is a New York bred horse. Finally kind of making he did make a plunge a little bit in the Pennsylvania Derby. Hot Rod Charlie, of course, Midnight Bourbon. This horse finished third to them. Nothing to sneeze at there. The horse ran a good race. Ran a mile and 1/8, cutting back a little bit. What do you think of American Revolution versus Following C here?
I think they're the 1-2 finishers in the race. I really like both of them. I thought Following Seed was fantastic in the Breeders' Cup. Had a poor trip, got cut off, or could have been right there. But I like American Revolution a little better here. I put American Revolution on top. I hate the 5-2 price. I thought he would be more like 5-1 with a horse like Ginobili in here and Independence Hall, who people seem to like. But gosh, I really like American Revolution. He has just beat the hell out of these New York breds. And when he went up to Pennsylvania, man, he ran very, very well to finish third in that race. Only question mark I have for him is the distance a little short? He's been running longer races. Now he cuts back. If he handles it, I think he sits right off the pace, and then he pounces. I really like American Revolution in this race. I think this is a really, really nice colt.
I actually think the distance cutback is nice for him, because I think the horse went straight from 6 furlongs to mile 16 to mile 8, but he's obviously been running well. But I think he has enough kind of tactical speed where the horse is up close enough in these races to where the distance doesn't necessarily. You look at the Pennsylvania Derby going a mile and 1/8. I mean, that horse tried his ass off. He just was up against, obviously, Hot Rod Charlie and Midnight Bourbon ran a good second. Just up against 2 really good, really, really, really good horses. So I'm with you. I thought he ran great. And of course he came back and dominated the next race coming out. I think he's going to sit. I think Lee Size will have the perfect trip with him and kind of sit off the speed, whether that be Following C, drawing from the rail. I think the way that Pletcher's entered these 2 horses, I think he got the perfect draw. I think he's going to have both these horses kind of sit positionally the way they want to be. Following C kind of forwardly placed, and American Revolution kind of right off of him. So I think both of them have a great shot to win. Let's go past the Pletchers for a second and think, what are the other ones? So Code of Honor, obviously like the old guys, right? Well, they're quote unquote old, but the horses we know a lot about: Code of Honor, Independence Hall, 2 horses that have been running for quite some time here. might be making their last starts each. So this might be their last kind of swan song. Can they pull a Maxfield here and kind of end their careers with a big grade 1 win?
I don't know about Code of Honor. You've given this horse a lot of chances. I'm not really sure. I think he's going to get some pace turn into. That's good. I don't know if he's good enough here to win it. I really don't. Since that Travers win, he's kind of been disappointing ever since. Yeah, I know Steve has a comment here. He likes Code of Honor. I don't know. I'm a little iffy. I'm iffy on Independence Hall too. I know the horse looked great last time out. This horse is extremely inconsistent. I think the field's awfully tough. I'm not sure about him either. If you want to play an older horse, I think Ginobili makes a whole hell of a lot of sense. I think that's the one you want to play if you're going to play one that's not a 3-year-old. Last time out ran second to Life is Good, who we both, I should say, think is the best dirt horse in this country. Has been really, really good before that race as well. I think the only question mark is coming over here to New York, but there's no reason to think he won't run well here. And so I think as far as an older one goes, that's who I'm most interested in trying to tackle those Todd Pletcher 3-year-olds here.
Yeah, Ginobili ran it like there was like a half a second in that race where you're like, Ginobili might win this thing. He looked really good in the dirt mile. And of course, Life is Good. Kind of like, okay, that's why he's, like you say, the best right now. But no, I mean, he ran it, 2 races before that. He was incredible too. So Ginobili to me is the horse I'm looking at. If for whatever reason, these Pletchers don't show up or kind of hang a little bit, Ginobili is the one that seemingly is going to be making a move in the turn. Independence Hall is a little bit like Maxfield for me last week because I told you last week I was like you wanted to single Midnight Bourbon. I was like I would have to play Maxfield too. I did because it's like just because he's really good. He was good at that. He loved Churchill Downs and Independence Hall, man. He loves Aqueduct. He loves his distance. He's 2 for 2. He's 2 for 2 so if he's gonna do it, this is probably where he's going to do it. That's kind of where I'm at with Independence Hall. I don't love taking him at anywhere near a short price. You'd have to get every bit of that 7-2, 4-1, something like that for me on Independence Hall. But I do think he could be dangerous. I agree that he's highly, highly inconsistent. And I'm kind of out on Code of Honor, to be honest. I mean, I don't know. You know what I mean? I don't. Do. He feels like a horse that he's done. It's clear that he's done. He doesn't have what he used to have, and we're gonna give him a kind of that last hoorah, that Cigar Mile. It's the end of the year, a grade 1 shot. See what he's got left in the tank, and that's it. And I don't have. Could he win? Sure. I mean, he's obviously he's acquired. He's gotten $3 million in earnings over his career. Could he win? Sure. I mean, he's a good horse. He at least it was. I mean, but that's one that I think I'm going to leave off.
I added him because I've liked him for a long time. I did add him on a ticket, but I think I'm going to. I haven't. Obviously, that's not official yet. But right now, I've got him on there. But it's more of a just if I get alive to this spot, because I went short in a couple of the legs. We'll talk about them. And it's like, if I'm alive and I have 5 horses on a ticket and he's not one of them and he wins, I'm going to want to jump off a cliff. So I put him on there. It's kind of the late edition on a ticket.
No, I agree. I mean, that's the one, right? Code of Honor wins and you don't, especially for you, because you have liked Code of Honor for a long time.
Yeah.
If you were to win, you might jump off a, by the way, the wagering guide. We have a Cigar Mile wagering guide coming out soon. News to us too. We both were like, remember, we're gonna do one this week. So it's coming out later today on Thursday. So if you listen to this on the pod, it's out. Go to theracingdudes.com. Go to the products page. Go get your hands on that. And of course, you can get information on how we're gonna bet. Halter was talking about what horses he's gonna include. Maybe you're gonna include this horse or not include that horse. All that, the tickets, the pick 4s, pick whatever, any kind of sequence he's playing will all be listed on the wagering guide. So go get that at racingdudes.com. I'm kind of with you. If I was playing 4 horses, I think He would be off of it. He's my last off, because Ginobili's on it, Independence Hall's on it, and then the Pletchers are on it. So I think, unfortunately, Code of Honor. That's the tricky part. I think you have to make a decision between Code of Honor and Independence Hall, right? I think if you're depending on how deep you want to go. For me, I'm going to. He's not going to be one I use. Who's the pick though? Did you go American Revolution on top?
I did. I debated between him and Falling Sea. I'm a little worried about the distance of a mile. I know Falling Sea can get it, but I don't know if that's like his absolute best. I think 6 furlongs is his absolute best. So with that being said, I did go American Revolution on top. I've just really, really liked this horse for a few months now. I'm excited to see what he can do against Open Company again. And I just think he's just steadily improving. And I think this is going to be his big race.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm with you a little bit on Following C entered in here. I mean, was like, that's interesting because I definitely don't see him as a mile horse, but he could be, I guess. I don't necessarily think it's his strongest suit, right? And so I think a little bit of it is, he's training really well. Like he's obviously a good horse. Like let's just take a shot. He's also going to be, let's be honest, he's going to be like, let's just going to set this thing up perfectly for the 3. This is, I think having the 3 in this race with the 1 is huge in terms of dictating, kind of putting the speed out there. So to me, I like number 3 as well. 3 is my top pick. Ginobili's a very, very close second for me. I like those 2 on top. What do you make of, I mean, obviously, what is Following C to you? Like, do you think, or I guess even the 3? I mean,
yelling outside my door.
Is that Uncle P? Is that Uncle P? It sounded like his voice.
I think it's your kids.
I don't know where they're at right now, so maybe they're there. But no, the 1 or the 3. In terms of long term, obviously, we kind of know Independence Hall, Code of Honor might be done after this. Maybe Ginobili is a horse that makes some noise next year as well. But which one of these horses are you really excited about after this race?
You would think Following C would be Pletcher's sprinter going into next year, and American Revolution would be one of his many horses that can go longer, right? I mean, I think they both are going to be pretty darn good. We'll see what happens with Ginobili. I think that's a horse they bring him back at 5. Should be pretty good as well. So Olympiad and Pipeline, they seem like they're going to, they need a little bit, of improvement or getting better as 4-year-olds before they're at the level of the 2 Pletchers here. So, I mean, I think all indications are Following C should have a huge year next year. He still has a lot, kind of a late bloomer. He has a lot of racing ahead of him, I would think.
Yeah, the American Revolution horse is interesting because obviously I said he's a New York bred horse, so you got to imagine this is a horse we'll be seeing a lot in the New York circuit, of course. And then since the horse was with Pletcher, the horse debuted with Brissett, and then switched over after 1 race. The horse breaks his maiden estate bred. These are all the first 3 races state bred. Wins the state bred stakes by 7 the next time. Wins the Albany at Saratoga by 5 the next time after that, going to mile and 8. Then that's what kind of triggered them to go try the Pennsylvania Derby. He doesn't disappoint. He doesn't run poorly. Just gets beat by 2 good horses. Run a huge buyer, 101 buyer, and then jumps back to the state bred and dominates. Like I said last time out, we're getting a 108 buyer at Belmont Park, going to mile and 8. So it's obviously like he's making the progressions, right? Every race is a little bit better than the last, and he continues to get better and better and better. So yeah, to me, he's only a 3-year-old. Seems like he's a horse, that he didn't even debut. Well, he debuted as a 2-year-old, but then we didn't see him again until June. So it's definitely, like you said, I think he's a horse that you need to know. I think he's going to continue, and he's a really good looking horse too.
Yeah.
Just by looks, to me, he's one of those horses that's going to be one of his distance horses for sure next year. But yeah, all right, this is a race you guys need to watch. You and I are both on the 3-horse American Revolution.
guess the walls are thin in this hotel.
I thought it was like Heather running around in there.
It felt like the kid was like right here.
I know the look in your eyes were like, oh shit, what is that?
It sounded like they were dying or something new. They're just screaming.
No, just being idiots. All right, let's do some rapid fire and let's kick things off with Oaklawn. What do you say?
Okay, that sounds good to me.
It still doesn't sound normal to say that, but we're going to. We're gonna normalize it. All right, 3, 2, 1. All right, time for rapid fire, presented by the Inside Track to the 2021 Cigar Mile Wagering Guide. That's right. Go get the Cigar Mile Wagering Guide right now at racingdudes.com. If you're listening to this live, it'll be available later on tonight, Thursday evening. If you're listening to this on Friday, guess what? It's there. The Cigar Mile. We just got done talking about the Cigar Mile. So you want to know exactly how we're going to bet this race, how we're going to play the exacta, how we're going to play the try, how we're going to play the multi-race wagers. Go download the wagering guide right now at racingdudes.com. You can get it for free if you're one of those that hit up the promo code last week. You get it for free. If you're a subscriber, you get it for free. So any subscribers get this wagering guide absolutely for free. So go to racingdudes.com, subscribe, get this one for free. You'll also get the Malibu coming up wagering guide as well for free. Any kind of guide that comes out while you are an active subscriber, they are free. All right, let's kick things off here with Oaklawn Park on December 3rd. So December 3rd, Friday, today, if you're listening to this tomorrow's Advent Stakes, race 8 at Oaklawn Park is a 2-year-old race worth $150K going 6 furlongs again at Oaklawn Park. 2-year-olds running at Oaklawn Park. I'm going to say that over and over until I figure out how I understand that. 10 horses are entered, led by the 9 and 10 of this field. Number 9, Karima, 5-2 with Ricardo. We've talked about the Ricardo Asmussen thing. They're back. And number 10, Higher Standard for Amos at 3-1. Your 2 outside horses are your 2 top choices. Halterman, you know Oaklawn better than anybody. What are you thinking of this race?
Well, I might get bit here, but I think Ricardo and Santana they can be beat here. And I like the horse just to the outside of that one. I like number 10 Higher Standard a lot. You know, you watched that race last time out, just got to the front, kind of dominated. To me, I don't see a ton of other speed in here. I think the horse, if he breaks well, will get out to the front and kind of just run away from him. I think Higher Standard is going to be very tough to beat here. You know, Amos, I guess, had this race circled, gets Giroux aboard. I think it's going to be tough to beat Higher Standard in this spot.
Hey, you know what? We're on the same horse here. I'm kind of with you on that. I think that the post draw is the only concern. We just got to hopefully get a good break. But past that, I mean, I thought that last race was very, very impressive. He just needs to break. And that last work shows me the horse is ready to roll here. So bullet work. This horse was very quick last time out, going 5.5 furlongs at Churchill Downs, dominated that one. To me, this is like a big horse. You know, this is like a horse that they've had obviously some high potential with, 225K into mischief horse. Do you think any of these horses are candidates for, like, I know it's a sprint, but do you see, like, it's funny to say, right? 2-year-olds at Oaklawn, could we see these 3-year-olds now, you know, when they turn 3, be in the kind of the Derby prep circuit?
I mean, it's questionable because now, you know, it's like said, it's a sprint. You know, you look at the 10's pedigree into mischief. That's a horse that usually doesn't have, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes they can go longer, but usually doesn't. You know, the 9's by Cairo Prince. I don't know. There might be a couple. I don't see this field and get like super, super excited about Derby.
Yeah. I don't either, but I don't think it's going to be absolutely shocking to see at least one of these enter like the Southwest or, you know, Smarty Jones, or probably Smarty Jones, honestly, just because they're there, right? And their 2-year-old is going to be 3. So, but yeah, I'm with you. I think number 10, Higher Standard for me. I think the horse is going to go gate to wire. I think the winner of this race is kind of going to go gate to wire. I think, you know, being the first day of the meet, that track's going to be moving along pretty quickly, being a sprint that you just need to get out front, not look back. I like the 10 higher standard. All right, let's go to Aqueduct. Back to the Aqueduct. Let's go back to Aqueduct for the Go for Wand. This is race 7. Back at Aqueduct on Saturday, the undercard for the Cigar. Race 7, the Go for Wand Handicap Grade 3 or $250K. A handicap for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up, going 1 mile. Field of 7 lines up for this one. The odds are out now, 8-5 on number 2, Lady Rocket for Brad Cox, Irat Ortiz. I know how you feel about the Cox. So what are you thinking?
Well, I hate to say it now after you introduced it like that, you jackass. I think Lady Rocket is a single. I singled up Lady Rocket here. I think this field is pretty suspect, and I think she's not like the greatest thing I've ever seen, but she's solid. And I think getting Irat aboard again, I think they're going to be hard pressed to beat her. Inside speed in this race as well, could go to the front, or if Miss Marissa decides to burst out of there, can just sit right off. And I think they'll be clear of the others. So I think Lady Rocket's a single in this spot.
I knew you liked the Cox. I knew it. No, I had her on top for a second. I actually I'm going to try to beat her here with the 3 Bella Vita.
Yeah, I can see that.
Don't love the horse, but I think that the horse has some, like, you look back at some of her races, and she definitely has shown the ability to win. Like, I think she's a Bayern horse, a 400K horse for Clem Shaw, Simon Callahan. Pratt's been riding. Now you get Rosario. Like, to me, there's some signs there. This horse is, that she's a pretty good filly. So I do think that the 2 is going to have things kind of her own way that makes her extremely dangerous. I would definitely be using her. I'm not, not crazy. But I think the 3 Bella Vita could try to sit a trip. Rosario could kind of sit a trip off of the 2. And if the horse is good enough, might be able to get it done. So especially at a price, because the 2 is going to be pounded. And like you said, a lot of people like you are going to be singling in a sequence that maybe you're looking for a single, right? So I think the 2 makes sense, a single. So I'm going to try to beat that single. And I'm going to go to 3 Bella Vita. Let's go with the next race up. Race 8, the Remsen Stakes. It's a grade 2 with the $250K for 2-year-olds going 1.18 miles. This is a Kentucky Derby. We have Derby and Oaks prep races. This is a Kentucky Derby prep race, 10-4-2-1 for your top 4 finishers. Field of 8 lines up for this one. You know how I feel about the mile and eighth 2-year-old racing, right? We've talked about this. You know how I feel about the mile and eighth 3-year-old racing early in the year. But they continue to do it. So what do I know? 8-5 on the 1 horse, Mo Donegal for Todd Pletcher. This is going to be a theme here. Todd Pletcher has a few in here in these races that look tough. He's going to try to beat number 7 Zandon for Chad Brown and Rosario. That seems to be the matchup we're looking at here. But is there any other horse that you're interested in?
Well, real quick, I did pick Zandon to win the race, but I do think Judge Davis at 5-1 also makes a lot of sense. So the question of, are there any other horses I'm interested in? I am interested in that 3 Judge Davis, adding blinkers for the first time here, stretching out a little bit further in distance. I think this horse is pretty good. So, and I think that price is right. So that's one you shouldn't, leave off. But I did go to number 7 Zandon. It came down to watching replays. Some of these horses, while their replays were impressive, it's like, I think they're a little one-paced, they don't really have that burst. Maybe one pace is too harsh, but they just don't have that second gear or third gear. I think Zandon does. This horse kind of got in some trouble in the stretch of that race last time out. But once they got that horse clear, usually when 2-year-olds have trouble, they don't really kind of kick in. They just kind of quit. They moved this horse to the outside. He had every reason not to go by those horses, and he just zoomed past them. It was no trouble whatsoever. Only problem is that was at 6 furlongs. This is a 1.1 miles. That's a big-time jump, but the horse does have a solid pedigree. So I went with Chad Brown's runner here in the 7 on top.
Yeah, I really hope it doesn't burn me, because I pretty much liked everything about the 7 except for, and it's a big one, the 6 furlong to 1.1 miles jump. Yeah. I just was like, that was too much. I kind of feel like the horse might still run very well, but you kind of might be like, well, that was just a lot to ask for.
Yep.
But I definitely think the horse is super talented. So that, I mean, I think you use that horse just because you don't know what that horse will do stretching out. Mo Donegal to me feels like a horse that's like keyed in for second or third. Like, I just think this horse is going to run well because the horse is like well bred, has been, can run long, but maybe, did have the big thing about, this horse was Life is Great, a horse that he beat last time out, came back to dominate, which you and I both used on our tickets. Was it 2 weeks ago at Aqueduct? So that definitely bodes well for the one. But I'm glad you mentioned this horse because that's ultimately who I ended up picking on top. That was number 3, Judge Davis. I kept kind of going back to the 3. I feel like the price is right on him. You got enough to kind of work off here. The horse has got the stakes. The stakes experience in the Nashville last time out. Didn't run great, but didn't run awful, but clearly something needed to happen. Well, we get blinkers here. Jose Ortiz has rode this horse every time of his career, and guess what? He's still there. I love the fact, and we know how Suge is, right? With these, especially these early, these 2-year-olds into 3-year-olds, he's very, very slow and methodical with them. They might look like shit one race, and they might dominate the next race. Like he's got his own style, his own thing. The horse has been working out very well. Like you said, mile 16th, 2 back was really, really impressive. Now we get to go a bit longer. I think that's kind of the thing, right? You get the horse. What I'm expecting to see is Judge Davis is going to be very forwardly placed considering he gets blinkers now. The horse has shown to have very tactical speed, especially when they stretch the horse out going to mile 16. So I expect this horse to be very close and make a move. Is it a winning move? We'll find out, but I definitely think you're going to get a run for your money here, and I think the horse is worth playing. Trying to beat a horse that is enough to go against on those other ones. So I'm on number 3, Judge Davis. Let's go now to the Demoiselle race 9, the next one up, grade 2. We're $250K for fillies, 2-year-olds going to 1 1/8 miles. Again, this is a Breeders' Cup. Shit, it's a Kentucky Oaks, dude. I looked back and I was like, man, because you look back at we did so many podcasts on the Breeders' Cup that it is just every time you talk about a prep, it's a Breeders' Cup prep. It's a Breeders' Cup prep. And it's like, I've got to get back in my head that, okay, the Breeders' Cup's over. We're on to the Derby at Oaks because shit, man, we did so many pods with Breeders' Cup preps. It's insane.
We did.
And my brain is just completely like, if you see prep, it's Breeders' Cup. All right. It's the Kentucky Oaks prep race, 10-4-2-1 for your top 4 finishers. Field of 8 in this one as well. And Halterman, I talked about it with Pletcher. Pletcher here, he shows up again with the favorite number 5 Nest at 2-1. And he doesn't have Chad Brown, but he does have Clement with Tap to Faith, a $1 million filly that ran really well last time out at 3-1, and Magic Circle for Rudy Rodriguez at 7-2. Those are your 3 top contenders. Did you ultimately? Are you going with Pletcher this time with Nest?
Yeah, I did, kind of begrudgingly. I don't love anybody in this race, really. I thought Nest was the best bred for this race, and I think Nest will sit that trip that you want to sit here where you have tactical speed, but you don't have to be on the lead. I'm not thrilled with this horse, really, as you can tell the sound of my voice. And I think it's just, there could be some goofy things that happen in this race as well. Like, for example, the 8 Full Court Felicia, I kind of like that horse. I'm going to have that horse on some tickets. That's a horse that's, I think, is going to get loose on the lead and major jockey upgrade, trying dirt for the first time. If she likes it, I mean, she's bred to go long. So I think this could be where an upset lands. I think you got to go a little bit deep here. But as far as okay, who's the most likely winner in the race? I do think it's Nest. I really do.
Yeah, and you look at even like a situation where you've got Jose Ortiz jumping off the one Misinterpret for Todd Pletcher, who he's rode like the last 3 times, and he's jumping on Nostalgic, who he rode last time for Bill Mott, for a very impressive Godolphin horse on debut at Belmont Park. So that's another one to me. Random mile 16th, on debut tells you they want to go long. Obviously, the horse is bred to go long. So yeah, to me, at 6-1, the 4 has a lot of interest. Tap the Faith. huge purchase, a $1.25 million purchase price. It's a tap it. Obviously, the horse was kind of funky on debut, but this kind of came rolling late, so you don't really know what you're going to get out of her. In the Magic Circles, Gerrymander beat her last time out, but Gerrymander's a good horse.
Yep.
So yeah, it is a weird kind of field. I ultimately did go with Nest, but I'm kind of with you that I don't necessarily love it. Basically going off the fact that Irad's back, rode the horse on debut going to mile 16th. They cut the horse back going a mile in that stakes race. I talked about Gerrymander won, Magic Circle second. Nest was coming, just ran out of room. So you got to think mile and 8th, the Curlin. I mean, that should be it, right? That should do enough. So it's just a matter of kind of who's good enough here. But I definitely don't look at this race like Ness is a single and move on. No, I mean, no chance about that. But I do think that I do like a few in here. Like, I think there's some of these horses might be horses that are definitely bred well to go long, right? So I think some of these horses might be decent. You got the right kind of connections and you got the right kind of breeding and purchase. Like, enough to like about some of these horses in here that would get you excited for the Oaks Trail with some of these, I feel like.
Yeah, no, I think it's a race where we could at the end of it go, okay, that horse isn't too bad. But it's just going into it. It's like, I don't know. But, after Zulu Alpha, pretty much all of them you look at right now, you're like, I don't know about those horses, Or Echo Zulu. I'm sorry, Zulu Alpha. Echo Zulu.
Zulu Alpha is retired, I think now.
Yeah,
right?
that's not. Yeah.
That's a slap in the face to Echo Zulu right there.
You know what's funny? When I'm writing articles, I'll do that. I've done that every once in a while, and I'll quickly correct. I've never done it on a podcast yet, but I knew that would happen eventually.
Well, congratulations. All right, the last Oaks. We have another Oaks prep to talk about. The last race we're going to talk about on rapid fire. Let's go to Los Alamitos. It's the Starlet Stakes, aka the Bob Baffert Stakes. It's race 8, grade 1, 300K, 2-year-old fillies going to mile 16. Field of 6 lines up for this one, and Bob Baffert has three of the 6. So, I mean, is it Grace Adler? Is it Ida? To me, Pratt jumped on to Grace Adler. I think I don't necessarily love Grace Adler, but horse definitely was really good on debut. Next race out in the debutante or the Del Mar, I guess it was that, and then of course was not good in the Chandelier. So, what do you think of Grace Adler?
Pratt usually rides his best one, is what I thought about it. So I'm gonna jump on Grace Adler here. I really like Ida, the 6 horse, as well. Thought she was pretty good last time out, but you know who rode that horse?
I know.
And that's the problem. Like, Pratt rode this horse last time out. She won at 1-5. She won by over 4, and now he's on Grace Adler. It's not rocket science.
That's it. Like, this horse in the last 2 starts with it, because Ida is like, there's a lot to like, as far as on paper, and dominates. Wins by 2 1/4. Comes back out, wins by 4 1/4. Pratt was on both. What did Grace Adler do last time? Lost by 13 3/4. Where does he land? Pratt's on Grace Adler. So you're just like, what are you supposed to do? It
tells me something happened to her physically that day, and they think she's going to run better. I mean, that's the only way you can take that, right?
Yeah, it is what it is, right? You kind of, sometimes you have, and especially in a race like this, when Bob Baffert's got the field over a barrel, essentially. Like, he just has all the good horses, and they're all in there. Like, he's just, listen, Bob Baffert has won this race the last 4 years. And it's not with good horses. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't, you look at these horses that have won this race his last 4 years. Tell me if you've even, you almost don't even remember them. Varda and Bast, I remember chasing yesterday, Dream Tree, but these were not like super powerful horses.
You didn't like Varda?
Varda? I loved Varda. What are you talking about? Varda? Oh man, Princess Nora, by the way. Oh, there's 2 A's. Oh. That's what it did. No, Princess Nora was the favorite of that day and got pulled up. So
Varda, hardly knew her.
Oh man, nice Michael Scott reference right there. I love it. No, yeah, Varda, I did not like, but I do like Grace Adler to win this one. I don't like any of them, but
I'm glad we're doing this show and it's about over because they're drinking at the hotel. That's the word I've gotten. So it's probably gonna be a long night.
That sounds amazing. I think I might jump on the next flight, try to get there. All right, we'll wrap this up for you so you can get going. All right, 3, 2, 1. That's all the time we have. Check us out at racingdudes.com for our free picks and our premium selections on our products page. Click the Get Racing Dudes premium button in the menu at racingdudes.com to learn more. Be on the Magic is day drinking. There you go. Let's day drink together. There you go. Does Magic even work, or does he just day drink? Is that what he does?
I think he works and he day drinks at the same time.
Honestly, it's all about finding that perfect level, right? You know, that's when you don't give a shit, but things are just, you're kind of just going through work and flying through it.
Yep.
Magic has apparently perfected that. Be on the lookout for our inside track to the 2021 Cigar Mile Wager Guide. As soon as we get off here, I'm going to finalize that, put it up on the website. So make sure you go get your hands on that. Get an in-depth analysis of all 4 stakes we just talked about on this pod, including, of course, the Cigar Mile. You'll get analysis and betting suggestions, multi-race plays for the entire card, not just the stakes race. See exactly how we're playing all those races we just talked about, as well as the entire card, racingdudes.com. Go to the products page, get your hands on that wagering guide. We are your destination site for all free horse racing picks and all major horse racing tracks, including Oaklawn Park. It's back this weekend, so make sure you're going to be betting alongside us with that as well. We're on Twitter at racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. Listen to us on SoundCloud. You cannot listen to us on SoundCloud. You can listen to us on on Blinkers Off on our podcast page, Apple Podcast. I need to start drinking, apparently. Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Pod. It's like always like you listen on SoundCloud, iTunes, Google Music, Amazon Music, Stitcher, Captivator. Watch all our episodes. The videos, you can watch the videos on our YouTube page, along with all of our stakes previews we have on our YouTube page. It's Google Race or search Racing Dudes in the search bar on YouTube, and you can find our page there. Go check out the Magic Mike Show here in a little bit. They'll be on in here about an hour, where they're talking about the late pick 4 at Aqueduct as well on Saturday. So you want their analysis of those stakes we just talked about. They'll be diving into that as well. Halterman, final thoughts. I know we won't get into it, but I want you to give your little spiel here real quickly before we sign off. You obviously, it was a very tumultuous week for you this last 7 days with OU, and you lost a big game, then you lost your coach, and now you don't know who your coach is going to be, and so lots going on. So talk a little bit about what happened, what you've been going through, and obviously give a little plug for where you can listen to all your analysis there.
Yeah, if you want full thoughts on that, you can go to the YouTube page or anywhere you find this podcast. You can also find the Dudes Who Bet Sports podcast. It's Dudes Who Bet Sports number 29, and the title is Lincoln Riley Can Go to Hell. So, and it's literally an hour of...
Should not have a problem finding the episode you're looking for.
Yeah, like I say, YouTube, you can find it, or you can find it anywhere you find this podcast. It was really a good show. I thought we had a lot of interaction with people. It was our most listened to show as far as live and podcast version. So that was awesome. Thanks, everybody.
The ending was hysterical. I don't want to give it away, but your dad, and actually both of you, because you went dark at the end, but that your dad was fucking hilarious.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't know he knew T Swift, so that was the amazing part of it. You got to watch the end. The
people that were watching live lost their mind during the final 2 minutes of that show. Yeah, he ripped it. Well, no, I'm not gonna say. You have to go watch it. Yeah, it's been awful. I've never been a huge Lincoln Riley fan, but I have admitted that he is he's better than a lot of people we could have. Well, we're gonna find that out because we've got somebody new. Definitely a betrayal. He definitely had one foot out the door for a couple of months, which explains our extra shitty season that we had by OU standards and how shitty they played for most of the year. That was the biggest thing, just sloppy play. They don't do that very often, and they did it every game. So, yeah, he's gone. And now you're in that scary part. Like the first 2 days, it's like, yeah, we're gonna go get this guy, and it's gonna be fine. And now it's been 4 or 5 days, and you're like, shit, they don't have anybody. And you get to thinking in your head, well, does nobody want it? Are they having trouble finding somebody? So that's where you're at right now with it. But yeah, I mean, Lincoln can. If I'll say what I said on the Dudes Who Bet Sports show, he's dead to me. I hate his guts. I wish him nothing but misery throughout the rest of his life, and he can go to hell. And our football program's a lot bigger than some punk ass bitch from Texas.
Tell us what you really think. No, I mean that's. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah. So go check out the show. See what his thoughts are. His dad's especially. You gotta go tune in to see what his dad thought of.
He's on like he's ready to kill somebody. So. It's every day. He's texting me stuff. So
and you were the one that broke the news to him, correct?
Yeah, he was out dicking around doing something, and I called him, and he didn't answer, and he called me right back. He goes, "Hey, I'm out there. What's going on? I'm out doing this and this." I said, "You haven't been near a TV or internet or phone, have you?" He goes, "No, what's going on?" And I said, OU has to hire a new football coach. And he goes, "That son of a bitch went to LSU." I said, "No, he went to USC." And I think he threw the phone when he heard that. And he said, "We'll be better out without him. He's terrible. He's a pussy," and all this stuff. I was like, "All right, I gotta go." So you let that simmer a little bit.
Oh shit, man! That was. I love whenever at the end, whenever I think it was you guys were talking about something. It was like basically we'll do this when he wins the national championship at USC.
Oh yeah, my dad on Thursday for Thanksgiving, he's got like a big 8x10 or picture of him and Lincoln Riley because he met him at a softball game. It's really really nice to him. And for Thanksgiving, like he had it printed out and he had it like on display. And he's like, "Look at this picture," showing everybody. And I was like, and I told him, I said, "Get that picture, we'll rip up." He said, "No, I can't do it. It's too good of a picture." He said, "But we're gonna burn it live on air if he ever wins the national championship." So,
what's amazing about that is he gets a picture done, and at the same time of Lincoln Riley and him, he's so proud of it, showing it off, and at the exact same time, Lincoln Riley's like out the door. He's gone.
Yeah.
Like, he's not even. He's packing his bags.
The rumor is like he's been negotiating for 2 weeks, but it was official on Thursday, and Thursday was the day he displayed the picture. So, and what's funny is my dad has always hated Lincoln Riley until he met him that day, and he's loved him ever since. And so now he hates him again. Anyway.
Man. Okay, so yeah, go watch the show. I'm sorry about your OU, but you know what? You guys will be all right. We'll be all right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's OU, so
we'll be fine.
I think it feels like, I don't know, from the outsider standpoint, I feel like I have a better feeling that OU is going to, get their shit straightened out than Lincoln Riley is going to win a national championship at USC. But
he wasn't going to win a national championship at Oklahoma. If you look when he took over to now, every year gets worse. So he wasn't going to win here. So I think if OU makes the right hire, we'll be better off. But that's a big if. You got to make the right hire. If they make a bad hire, that's not.
You're Nebraska.
They're Nebraska, exactly, and they will be. Yep.
Boy. We'll see. It's gonna be a fun adventure to ride with the Halterman. So you want to make sure you tune in to Dudes Who Bet Sports each week. They do twice a week. Go tune in that. So yeah, whatever you listen to on for your podcast, just go find that, subscribe to that as well, and watch the react. If nothing else, like if you don't give a shit about Halterman or don't give a shit about sports, just watch to see basically them squirm as they go through this process together, because it is quite funny. All right. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Halterman, good luck with your liver in the next 24 hours. Good luck with everything. I'm sure you'll have a hangover tomorrow if I know you will, and I do. So good luck with that. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Halterman. Good luck this weekend.